Good morning, everyone. We are here from the West Coast, so I want to say hello to everyone out there in this incredible, beautiful day. Hey, I don't know where you guys are dialing in from or whatever, but I am here at Walt Disney World in Florida and Orlando. I'm kidding, actually. I'm actually here in my house, man. This is a little screen in my background, but I was thinking if I could go somewhere right now, where would it be with my kids? And the kids all said, we want to go to Disneyland. So I'm not sure if it ever opens up. We'll maybe get back to Disneyland. But good morning to everyone. I know for some of you, it'd be good afternoon if you're in the East Coast. And we just want to welcome you today for those of you that are joining us for the very first time. We have a great program this morning or this afternoon, or today I should just say. And before we get started, we've got our guest speaker that we're going to be bringing on here. I just wanted to go over a few announcements. So let me just bring my PowerPoint up here real fast, and then we'll go ahead and hit some announcements. What is going on here? There we go. All right. So just a few things that I wanted to go over with everyone here. This coming Tuesday, I wanted to let you guys make sure that you tune in at 6:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. If you would, please go down to the bottom of the screen, take a picture of it, and share it with people on your social media. Let's get some more people dialed in because we're providing, I think, amazing content. I mean, everything that could help you in life and in business, and certainly kind of get you into an environment where what is everybody doing, you know, during this time of quarantine, and as some businesses are opening up today, you know, all the major public places are still closed. And so we're trying to make the best of it, and we want everyone to tune in because we think we're providing amazing content. The reviews have been amazing, and we need your help to get this information out and share this, you know, to go on Instagram and Facebook and make a comment, create your own posts as to what you may have learned today. And next week on Tuesday, we've got an amazing guest speaker and some amazing content I think are so relevant to you. And so make sure you go down and register and dial in at 6:30, okay? Now, next Wednesday, I'm going to be doing an orientation for people that are in business with me. We're getting you acclimated to our world and wanted to give you an orientation for new people. We're going to be doing this every Wednesdays at 2 o'clock Pacific time, and make sure that you just, again, register here. Excuse me, take a picture of it and make sure you dial in. And then next Saturday, we're doing something. It's a long day. Excuse me, just had a little bit of breakfast. And so next thing I know, I sat down and here we go, man. And so we're dancing and having a good time this morning. Yeah, from 1 to 5 o'clock, we've got some amazing people. I've got 3 or 4 or 5 of my top leaders that will be dialing in and training on how to get your business rocking. I mean, a girl named Marla Isidro. We've got Ina Ibrado, Toon Fruchakun, myself, and I believe another guy named Elon Michael and his wife Dina. We're all going to jump on here for about 4 hours and give you a lot of content that will help you get your business going. Right? Really, it's called the Fast Start School, not slow start, but fast start, and that's what we want to do. So that'll be next Saturday from 1 to 5. Everything I do here so far, all the Tuesday sessions, Wednesday, Thursday, Saturday, it's all free. It's just something like, what else can we possibly do but provide some content to the world? So that's what's going on, and we're going to be covering just a tremendous amount of information. And this is why you want to get everyone to register for these things as quickly as possible. This will be a sold-out event, and we do have limited spots, I guess, in this virtual space. Because with Zoom, they have a limit as to how many you have. And then if you want to go up to more, then, you know, we've got to pay, you know, like $900 a month or $1,000 a month. And then if we're incurring expenses, then we are going to have to charge. But right now, it's absolutely free. So make sure you dial in and take advantage of this opportunity. So this afternoon, we've got a very special program today at 2 o'clock to 5 o'clock, maybe a little earlier. Maybe it'll be like 2 to 4:30. I'm going to try to take what I normally do in like 4 hours and condense it down to like 3 and even possibly 2.5 hours. So we'll see how it goes. But this is a program that I started back in 1998. When I started my entrepreneurial journey, I decided that I wanted to create some sort of a boot camp environment. Of course, a lot of my colleagues and peers thought it was a silly idea, that it wasn't going to work, that it was actually kind of crazy. And of course, what did I have to lose? Nothing. And so I put this boot camp together, and what had manifested from this boot camp is quite amazing. Just about almost everyone who graduated from it today are now extremely successful in not just business, but in life and things. The stuff that I'm going to teach you is stuff I think that should be taught in high school and college, but it's not. And so we have been teaching this program since 1998. We've got it totally down to a science. And so this afternoon, for those of you that would like to have some sort of coaching and mentoring, we'd like you to join us this afternoon at 2 o'clock, right after this program. Grab yourself a quick lunch and then come back to your computer. Join us from 2 to like 4:30, 5 o'clock. And as I said, I'm going to try to get it earlier so you have some Saturday left with your family. And I think this is going to be a game changer. And I think that many of you just have to tweak a little bit, we call it MTC, for make that change. And some of you, it's just making that little change here or there, kind of fine tuning something, and suddenly you've got this amazing machine. So that's what we want to do, is we want to help fine tune you just a little bit and help you make that change. And this boot camp, I think, could be your answer. So join us this afternoon, absolutely free, no charge. And I look forward to seeing you again this afternoon. Now, without any further ado, a lot of you may be joining us and saying, well, who is this guy? Like, who is this guy, John Shin? What's he all about? Why are people tuning in every day? Typically on Saturdays, we usually have a smaller crowd. Obviously, people just want to sleep in. Those are the not as serious business people. And then there's others that are actually doing their own meetings on Saturdays. And then of course, you guys are all the diehards because you're all here. A couple hundred of you here today, more I'm sure tuning in. But for those of you that are joining us for the very first time, I want to go through this pretty quickly, and then I want to bring our guest speaker. So I want to make sure that I stay on time. I've got about 20 minutes to kind of give you a background about myself and my journey in business, and what are some of the things that basically helped me to get to where I am today. So for me, it started in 1996, believe it or not, when I read this book called Think and Grow Rich, written by Napoleon Hill. This is an absolute timeless classic masterpiece. And I really want to encourage all of you to get this book this weekend, whether it's video, hard book, Kindle, get it on Amazon and read it. And if you don't, like to read, get it on audio and, listen to it. It's a game changer. If I had more time, I would tell you guys all about this book right now, but I don't. And so what happened recently is the Napoleon Hill Foundation actually put together a revised book. It's the original unedited version of the book. And this is his actual writings in this book, Think and Grow Rich. It's called the original. If you see my mouse, I don't know if you can, it's the unedited version. And want you guys to get this version instead of this classic version, get this version. And then I read that book again in 1996. I went to the Napoleon Hill Foundation, got the opportunity to make a movie out of it. And it's called Think and Grow Rich, The Legacy, all right? And this is a full length motion picture. And we've been streaming this certain Friday nights. We've been doing a movie night during this stay-in-home orders around the country. And but now it's been so, it takes a lot of time for us to sit there and watch the movie and stay tuned afterwards and do Q&A and all that stuff. So. And then some people just can't dial in on Friday for whatever reasons, religious reasons and things like that. So they've asked if we could do it on another night. We want to do it on Saturday. And then we have certain religious people on Saturday said, can you do it on Friday? And can you do it on Sunday? And so we just thought we would make it really easy for you. And this movie, by the way, is sold for $25 on DVD. But you can get it for $5 and stream it right from your computer into your big screen TV. At johnshinmovie.com, it's $5. If you do want a copy of a book, not the book, the DVD, please email my staff at anna@tgrmastermind.com, and we'll certainly deploy a DVD over to you, okay? Now, In terms of, well, that's kind of out of order, but these are the different versions. There was a Black choice, a Latino choice. Sharon Lecter wrote a book called Think and Grow Rich for Women. And then, of course, I wrote the Asian version of Think and Grow Rich. And it's the most recent one. It's the most modern one that just came out. It is available right now on Amazon. And, you know, there's some amazing people like Penny Oy, Jack Ma, Elon Musk, Vera Wang, Dwayne Johnson, this guy named Raja Dhaliwal, who just this last 12-month rolling crossed over $7.5 million in income. This is Steve Aoki, Jamie Villalobos, Kevin Harrington, one of the original sharks on the hit TV show called The Shark Tank. And all these people, and you'll notice that there are some people who are not Asian here and some who are Asian. So this is not an Asian thing. And although I say, you know, how rich Asians think, but it's really how everyone thinks. So I've got a variety of different people that have different religious beliefs, different backgrounds and ethnicity. They're all in here. And the reason, in my first chapter, you'll actually read that the reason I have so many different people in my book is because success doesn't discriminate, right? So, you know, maybe the title sounds a little discriminatory, but it really is not our intention to do that. But, you know, how do Asians people think? And is there a lot of relevance or some common things from Asians and Blacks and Latinos and whites and Europeans and Middle Eastern and, you know, Muslims and Catholics and Christians and Jewish people and, you know, the whole 9 yards. And you'll see that there isn't. It all comes down to the 13 things in my book. And each one of these people here will give you some sort of a tool that help them become successful that we want to share with you. And it's all in this book. Make sure you get it. Now, again, it is on audio, and you just got to go to Amazon, and it just came out on audio. So we're really excited about this. So enjoy the audio as you're listening to it. Then we went on a tour called Think and Grow Rich around the world, 12 countries, 33 different states. We were supposed to be on tour right now. In fact, we're supposed to be in Asia right now, but we had to postpone this, and we'll probably resume this back hopefully next year, okay? Now, during my tour and during my speaking around the world, I have now shared the stage with people like Condoleezza Rice, Barbara Corcoran, who's also in my movie, Think and Grow Rich, The Legacy. Let's see, this is Martin Sheen, and both Martin and I sit on the board of the MANNY PACQUIAO Foundation. This is Rob Dyrdek, who is also in my book. That's his beautiful wife, and standing next to me is my wife. And then this is Stedman Graham. I don't know if you guys all know Stedman, but Stedman is Oprah Winfrey's spiritual partner or spouse, boyfriend. And so Stedman, that's a picture of he and I at my house, and he had come out from Chicago, and we had visited for, it was supposed to be a few hours, and it became an entire day. And so Stedman was great. And there's some things that he and I are going to be doing that we'll be introducing to all of you shortly. But, you know, it's interesting. You look at this picture, for those of you that don't know Stedman, he used to be a former basketball player, and he's about 6'6" or 6'8". I mean, he's a very tall man, and I am 5'8". And so, you know, people say, well, how is it that if you're 5'8" and he's 6'8", that you're actually taller than him in this picture? And it's really simple, because you'll see that I'm standing on a chair. So it's pretty funny. I get a chuckle out of it every time I see that picture. And it's my son in the background photobombing our picture. But anyway, let's see, my computer just froze. That's Steve Aoki there. And Steve's got an amazing, amazing story. And when you read my book, I was the first guy he had ever divulged to in an interview that the story of the cake. You know, if you know anything about Steve Aoki, he's notorious for taking his cake from the stage and throwing it out into the audience, and where did that idea come from, and why does he do it, and stuff like that. So that is actually answered in my book. It's a great story. Please read it. It's very entertaining. And then, of course, there's Mario Lopez. He's got a great podcast show called Listen to Mario. And Mario now and I are writing co-authoring a book together. We're sharing the stage and hosting events together. So pretty amazing story. And I, you know, encourage you guys to listen to my podcast with Mario and Listen to Mario. And then, of course, my wife and I both got knighted last year, and that's why it's Sir John Shin. Tremendous honor by the Royal Order of Constantine the Great and St. Helen. And in the back there, you'll see Duke Gerhard, and this is Duke Michael. And so just an amazing honor to be knighted by the Royal Order. And this right here is a picture of my wife getting knighted. And so she's now officially a lady or a dame. And again, the question that people ask is, why did this all happen to us? And this all happened to us because, you know, we prayed. You know, all the things I just shared with you, I didn't share it with you, for those of you that are joining us for the first time, to seem braggadocious. That was not my intent. Though some people, you know, the negative people, the I don't know, the confrontational people, they're gonna say, oh, this guy, blah, 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 he's like an Asian Kardashian. And that was not my intention. My intention was to share all that with you, is to show you proof in the pudding, right? That that success can happen to anybody. And you know, my parents immigrated to this country from South Korea. We grew up here in East LA, just a few blocks away from the original Tommy's Burger in Los Angeles. And I, growing up, just wanted to be a rich kid. I wanted to be wealthy so that I can take care of my parents and, you know, make some changes in the world. And so I prayed and I prayed that that God would actually send me money, you know, and we thought, God, could you please send me $1 million, right? But when you pray and you ask for things, do you ever wonder that maybe God may be sending you your request in a different package, right? So many of you right now during this crisis, you may be sitting at home and praying, and we're praying for you and everyone else around the world that are struggling during these times, whether the struggle may be emotional, it could be, you know, maybe you're having some mental, you know, struggles right now, or some physical issues, or relationship stuff, or financial. But I'll tell you what, I want you to know that if you're struggling with those things, don't feel like you're a victim. Don't feel like, you know, this is only happening to you, because I can tell you that just about everyone right now that is on this call and around the world, every person, including myself, I'm not going to sit here and tell you guys that I'm not I don't face adversity myself. I still do, right? The only difference is I've got more tools to learn how to handle some of the adversities that I face, but everybody's combating some sort of a crisis in their life. And as you are facing something in your life, don't feel like you're alone. We're all here to help you and support you and guide you. But maybe as you're praying to God for some answers, that maybe this webinar is that answer. Maybe the person who invited you here today and said, hey, listen, tune in to, you know, Shintastic Saturday's webinar, and maybe you'll get something out of it. And I hope that we share something with you today that could provide some comfort for you. So I want you to know that, when you pray for money, is God really going to send you in a briefcase, FedEx, you know, a suitcase of cash? You know, maybe he will. I don't know, but I don't think so. But I believe that God works in mysterious ways, and he will send you things in a package that you never thought of. And I think that, you know, today could be the answer. And I just want you to know that if you're in need of any kind of help or support, just ask for some help and guidance, because we're all here. I want you to ask without fear. No one's going to reject you. No one's going to think you're strange or weird. Hey, we're all going through stuff, right? I mean, as I said, I have challenges myself, and I have no problem asking people for help. I'm not shy. I'm not embarrassed. I don't feel bad. I don't feel guilty, because I know that the people who care about me and love me will come and support me and guide me. And I want to be the first to volunteer to help out if there's anything that you possibly need. Now, having said all that, when we talk about business, I want you to know that for me, I think how I got to where I am today had a lot to do with timing, right? And I believe timing is everything. So from 1946 to 64, there was a group of people born, about 76 to 80 million people. They've been called the baby boomers. And I want you to know that for me, you know, my wife created this timeline, and as she created this timeline, it's really interesting to see how coincidental it was that as 80 million babies were born, that all of a sudden the baby industry started taking off. And then as the babies got a little bit older, right, Gerber Food, as I just showed you there, Johnson & Johnson started doing well. And then the next industry, all of a sudden we saw was toys. Mattel Corporation, Hasbro Corporation started doing well. And then from there, it was the fast food industry. Now, do you think it was just coincidence that these things were happening? Or do you think that it was the baby boomers demanding these products? Not so much demanding, but having a desire to acquire these products, their need, the baby boomer needs. And I think that's what it is. And so then McDonald's emerged, and that began the fast food revolution. And then cars, Lee Iacocca, right, bailing Chrysler out of financial turmoil. And then from there, we had technology. And then from there, the real estate industry. And then from there, it was retirement. So we're now here, it's the year 2020, and the first baby boomer born in 1946. So here's what we're looking at is timing. There's no better time than now, even though I may have started 25 years ago in the financial industry. I think right now is the best time to start a business or a career in the financial service industry. And I am always looking for good people, right? Now, this business may not be for everybody, but for the right person, for those of you that are listening to me right now for the first time, I'm looking for that person that I can mentor, that I can coach, absolutely free. I'm not going to charge money to mentor or coach you if you have a desire to pursue a career in the financial service industry. And I've got a lot of people around me that will help me help you, okay? So we have systems in place, you know, whether it's, financial format systems, business format systems, licensing format systems, personal development systems, leadership format systems. All these things have taken us almost 25, 30 years to create, and now you have it at your disposal, okay? And as we talk about these systems, you know, you have to ask yourself, what does system stand for? It stands for save yourself some time, energy, and money. Some time, energy, and money. Like, why would you want to go and spend another 25 years or even 10 years or 5 years for that matter, trying to create all this stuff? The amount of energy it has taken from my wife and I and from our family to create these systems for you, it's all there. All you need to do now is to plug in to our system, and we have it down to a science. There's a reason that we have an office now, and we've got 205 offices, 42 states. We should probably put that in our slides here. Around the country, we've got a couple up in Canada, because we've got all the systems in down. We're like a McDonald's in the financial service industry. And that's our vision. That's our goal. We want to be the McDonald's, Starbucks of financial services. And that's why we're looking for good people. And if you want to make some money and you want to be financially independent, please get with the person who invited you and ask them for more information. Because I know that the need for financial education is not a luxury. You know, there's a lot of businesses that are luxury. Entertainment is luxury, right? Going on vacations to dream destinations is a luxury. There are certain things that you buy that are luxury items, right? Like a Chanel bag or an am I even saying it correct? An Hermes, right? Channel, whatever, Louis Vuitton. It's all a luxury. Those aren't necessities. And so I believe that financial literacy is an absolute necessity, and our goal is to educate people about money. So let me give you an example of what's going on around the world. Right now, we've got in 2012, 37 states that require 37 states that require sex education, and only 4 states that are highlighted here require financial literacy courses. And then in 2012, right underneath Tennessee, you'll see 1 state, and that was Alabama. In 2015, so it basically took us 3 years to get 1 state added into our union to teach financial literacy courses. And then here we are now 5 years later, we've added Iowa and North Carolina. So the good news is we're making progress, but the progress is extremely slow. So we're trying to educate people, making it, you know, working with all the politicians, right? Making this an essential part of our educational system is financial literacy. And I can't do this on my own. I certainly need your help and your support. And so that's what I am extremely passionate about. And so the things that we talk about, the core 6 foundation of building financial security, number 1 is increasing cash flow, right? I saw a great post the other day that on Instagram, I forget who posted it, and I wish I could give them some credit, but I like what they said. And maybe if you're or here today, maybe you can say it was me in your comments right there, Q&A. Say it was me, John, that was my post. But it said something like that having a multiple stream of income is more of a necessity now than ever before, because obviously so many people, we're now reaching unemployment to a point where we're climbing to, you know, the same unemployment as we're heading to during the Great Depression. So we don't really know if we're in a depression right now or not. You know, you can't really make that decision until months later. And so we'll find out in the future if we are in a depression, but certainly the unemployment rate as it continues to go up. The last time I checked, I think we were at about 15, you know, 0.5 or 16%. So, excuse me, we are hovering, you know, we're getting closer to that 20%, which is where unemployment was during the Great Depression. So right now, more than ever, people are looking for ways to increase cash flow. So those are things that we want to do. Number 2 is to manage your debt. Number 3 is to create an emergency fund. And number 4 is protecting your family with different programs and policies. And number 5 is creating long-term savings, right? Whether it be for your retirement, whether it's for, you know, a kid's education, whether it's for a wedding, to buy a house, a very special occasion like a bar mitzvah, a bat mitzvah, a quinceañera, a sweet 16. Those are all things that you got to start planning today, not last minute, because some of those events are extremely expensive, and it's a chunk of money, and you can't put those things on your credit cards. I mean, I guess you can, but that's not the kind of debt you want to accrue. You know, it's better for you to save money and prepare for those kinds of events. And finally is to preserve your estate, protect your assets, and pass it on to your next generation. So next week on Tuesday, we're going to talk about, you know, things like this. On Thursdays, we get into a very concentrated focus on these kind of products, and that's where we do a lot of this kind of product training. Again, it's all free. I just wish you would just tune in. If you want to go onto YouTube and maybe look at some of my past YouTube videos, we're uploading every episode. Like this episode right now it will be uploaded to my YouTube channel. So go to my YouTube channel, subscribe, and make some comments and share and do whatever you got to do there. Now, having said that, I want you to know I do come with tremendous experience in the business industry. I do see myself as a serial, what do you call it, a serial entrepreneur. As I said, I've invested in a lot of different kinds of businesses. And just to kind of give you an idea, look at all the different businesses I've invested into. We got everything from software, valet parking, merchant processing, farming, real estate, solar panels, e-commerce, gadgets, apps, wigs, believe it or not. No, and this is not a wig. I'm not wearing a wig. Bath bombs, although maybe I should get a wig. I don't know. Music, movies, authors, books, all those kind of things. And of course, financial services. And if I take all the income I've made from all those businesses, they don't compare to the amount of money I've made in the financial service industry. The financial service industry, bar none, is the most lucrative business for us and for me. And I just love it. And I love it because of this thing called passive and residual income. It's both. They're not the same. They're two different things. In fact, passive income, if you don't know, is income that you make without doing any work, all right? So in other words, some examples of that, what I mean by that is not like manual work, for instance, but, you know, money that you generate from stocks, rental properties, annuities, high yield savings account. Those are some examples of passive income. Residual income, on the other hand, is income you receive after a sale, and you continue long after the sale to still continue receiving income. Well, what are some examples of that? A book, right? So you sell you make a book, and then all of a sudden, you start getting residuals, right? Movies, music industry, things like that, financial services, and the list goes on. But for me, the financial service industry has been so rewarding. And I love it, as I said. Why financial service? Because of the residual income, the fact that I can build assets under management, the fact that I can hire agents and become a broker and reach more people, because I, as an individual, can only reach so many people. But if I teach people what I know and make them my agents, then I can hire a team of 20, 30, 50, 100 agents, where now all of us collectively can go out there and serve a lot of people. And then, of course, the fact that I can sell my business and I can get educated more about money and finance, just like you. I can teach other people how money works, and I can help families, and I have fun doing this. So this is why I'm in the financial service industry. And maybe this could be a reason for you to get into the financial service industry, okay? So now, having said all that, I just want you to know that a friend of mine named Victor Wong shared this with me, and I absolutely love it. It's one of my favorite slides, and we kind of recreated it, restructured it, but it says here, if you don't come out of this quarantine with a new skill, right, a new skill, a new knowledge, or even a new side hustle or business, folks, it's not that you never lacked time, but you lacked discipline, okay? And next week on Tuesday, actually, I'm going to be talking to you about discipline. I've got some slides I'm going to share with you on how to inject a massive amount of discipline into you. That'll be next week on Tuesday, so make sure you tune in. And of course, we got a lot of other stuff we're going to share with you, right? So you need to learn a new skill, new knowledge, or a new side hustle. And I think that this financial service industry is an opportunity for you to learn how to make more money, to start a new side hustle, to gain some new knowledge, and to gain some new skills. So if you want to get more details about making more money, learning how money works, right, I want you to talk to me either directly or get with the person who invited you here today and said, all right, I want to meet with John. You and I can do a meet and greet over Zoom, and let's get down to the nitty gritty, right? Let's go where the rubber meets the road. So having said all that, right, I just want you to know, to help you develop this new skill or to have this new knowledge, I've got a very special guest who I have asked to join us today. And, you know, he's going to talk to you guys about, you know, a lot of different things. And I just want you guys to know how excited I am. He is an extremely busy man. He is one of the most sought after speakers, not here just nationally, but around the world. He is a world-renowned speaker, traveled the world with some of the biggest names in business, entrepreneurial, personal development, self-help, you name it. He has shared and he knows intimately people like Zig Ziglar, Tony Robbins, Brian Tracy. He's toured with all these different people, and he is a serial entrepreneur himself. He, you know, calls me, you know, almost once a month or every other week and says, John, I got another business idea. And I'm always open to his ideas and concepts, because he is one of the most creative individuals, always on the cutting edge of innovation. He is a multiple book. I got excited when I just wrote my first book, but wait till you guys find out how many books he has written. And of course, he's just recently wrote another book. We brought him on our tour, on the Think and Grow Rich World Tour. He was people's one of the most favorite speakers. And for those of you that have actually heard from Scott before, how many of you guys, you know, raise your hand and said, I love Scott, he was amazing. John, I wish you would give him more than, you know, 45 minutes to share content. Look at all those hands that are popping up. You guys all know, right? Scott is amazing. And one of the things is, as I'm talking about Scott, I just want you guys to know that, have you guys ever heard people say to you, if you ever need anything or if you ever need help, give me a call. And then you call them and then you're like, hey, I really need your help. And you're like, what is it? And you're like, I'm moving and I was wondering if you could help me move. And suddenly it's like, no one's available, right? They're like, I'm busy. They're not available and they're not going to help you. And I want you to know, when I got into the speaking world, a lot of people said, hey, John, if you need anything, let me know. And I called them and said, hey, I'm trying to launch my book. I'm trying to get some people to help me with getting my movie going. Would you help me? And I was like, well, you know, and all of a sudden they weren't helpful. And Scott was literally the most genuine, most giving, most generous guy who said, he would call me like once a week, twice a week and say, John, how's it going? Anything you need? Any help? Whatever. And just stayed with me all the time and gave just unconditionally. And so I can't tell you how much I appreciate his friendship and his support. And so I am absolutely thrilled to have you guys listen to Scott Shilling. So without any further ado, I know you guys are up on your feet. Let's welcome the one and only Scott Shilling, everyone. Scott, how are you this afternoon?
Doing awesome, John. Thank you. I mean, that was almost like I wrote that. That was awesome. Unfortunately, I didn't. I'm not that clever. That was great. Thank you for the great intro.
Absolutely. So Scott, before we get started, well, you know, I want to do some questions and stuff like that, but I know that a lot of people, we told them that maybe you could do some sales training for them today. Yes. So
Would love to.
I'm just going to turn off my video and let you take over, and then I'm going to stop my computer so you can share whatever you need to. But then at the end, I think some people are going to have some Q&A, and we want to answer some questions for them. So guys,
Awesome.
we're going to probably go about 45 minutes. So Scott, go ahead and do your thing.
Awesome. Well, thanks, John. I'm not gonna share anything. Just from the, I would encourage you to get a pad of paper, pencil, pen, whatever. Get ready to take some things down. John did say, you know, we want to obviously answer your questions. Don't worry, I'll stay here as long as you got questions. So my desire is to be of service to you. As John said, that is actually my signature on my email address. Please let me know how I can be of service. And sometimes I've been in front of 25,000 people and I've said that, and I've given out my email address. And people say, you really do that? And I said, absolutely. There's a single reason why. I can't control whether anybody ever uses it, but I can control if I offer it. So we're all in the same business. No matter who you are, what you are, we're all ultimately in the exact same business. And that business is the results business. No matter what your task is, no matter what your title is, no matter where you are in your presentation capabilities, anything like that, we're all in the business of delivering results through our chosen pathway, whatever that might be. If it's in financial services or something else, it doesn't really matter. So do you understand that the bottom line is people do business with those they know, like, and trust. If they don't know you, they don't like you. And if they don't like you, they don't trust you. But it's imperative that they trust you to do business together. So when John and I were talking not long ago, and I said, I got a new book coming out. You know, man, I'd love to do everything I can to be of service to the marketplace. Obviously, would love to get the book out and things like that. He said, well, why don't you come on my show? I said, awesome. That would be wonderful. Or why don't you come on one of our Shintastic Saturdays? And I said, I would love to. I'd be honored. And then he said, you know, because you've done so much for our folks at various times, I'd love for you to do a little sales training. I said, you got it. See, there was never a question. It's not about my agenda or what I want to accomplish. It's what needs to be accomplished in the field. So ultimately, we're all in the results business. So I guess I ask you some questions. What is it that you need to know? Do you need to know how to meet more prospects? That's a possibility. Or how about creating better relationships? Again, people do business with those they know, like, and trust. If I don't know you, I don't like you. If I don't like you, I don't trust you, but I got to trust you. How about communicating your message clearly? Growing your business, would that be good today? How about handling either rejection or objections? Now, I know you're so good that there's never any rejection or objections in either case. I get that. That's all cool. How about demolishing fear? Fantasized experience appearing real. That holds back a whole bunch of people. So, you know, why would you want to do any of that? Well, maybe you want to make more money. That's a good thing. You know, I learned a very valuable lesson. It's actually one of the stories in the book. Jack Canfield and Mark Victor Hansen, when they heard me speak one time, came up, thumped me right on the chest and said, Scott, God's granted you capabilities and talents that many people don't have. And if you don't fully use those talents and capabilities, you're robbing humanity. You're cheating humanity. In fact, you're being selfish. And you've got an obligation to make as much money as you possibly can. Now, I like the I word versus the O word. The invitation to make as much money as you possibly can. And, you know, being the know-it-all I was at the time, I said, oh, it's all about the money. And then they put me in my place. They said, you think this is all about the money? This isn't about the money. This is about the two things that come with money. The good works you can do and the influence you can have. So many times I ask people when we get into this conversation about money, when they say, Scott, when is enough enough? I answer it this way: enough to live on or enough to do good works in the world? See, we all have our numbers that make us comfortable and allow us to live the life of our dreams. But what if the life of our dreams includes having enough money to help other people, like maybe adopt orphans? Who might do something like that? Or serve other people in other ways, right? So again, if you change your perspective on what is appropriate, right? That you have the invitation to make as much money as you possibly can, not necessarily just for you, but for the things that you can do and the influence you can have. And do you realize we're at the perfect time to pivot our thought processes? See, I believe we're in a major reset. I believe God has been tapping us on the shoulder for a long time. All of a sudden, he smacked us up across the head with a 2x4 and said, go to your room. I want you to think about this for a while. I'm putting you all in timeout worldwide. See, and now while we've been in timeout, maybe we've come to the realization that we could be nicer. We could add a little dignity, a little respect, a little honor to other people. And that we could pursue those passions to, in fact, gain some more resources so we could serve some more people. Wait a second, Scott, what does this have to do with sales training? Well, it's the foundation of it all. If you don't have your mindset right, if you don't have the information, the tactical approach to sales training is totally different than the strategic approach, the relational approach. Sales isn't a tactical event unless you make it that. Now, I can do that, but why would I? Why wouldn't I make it a strategic event, a heartfelt event? See, this is where you have to learn to share your story. There's only one story like yours. Yours. See, you have to take your reasons for doing what you're doing and be able to amplify them in such a way to then potentially become of service to another. See, that's going to allow you to give back more. Solving somebody's problem is giving back, by the way. It always doesn't have to be monetary, and it doesn't always have to be to a nonprofit. Giving to another individual, solving their problem, is really the definition of sales. See, people make sales way too hard. It's 4 words. That's it. Identify problem, provide solution. 4 words. So if you want to close more business, if you want to live your life more totally fulfilled, if you understand that your task at hand is to identify problems and provide solutions that work to their betterment so that they can be the best they can be and live the best life going forward. See, far too many people in the sales biz focus on their products, their goods, their services, what commission they will make from making this sale. All those things are going to happen anyway. If I work to deliver you results, if I work to give you the information you need that solves your problem, you'll willingly, gladly sign and approve the agreement and write a check to which I can turn into my company, which will turn into commission for me. See, I come out of the Ziglar camp, Zig Ziglar. I'm very blessed to have known Zig and spent some amazing time with him, both on the road and back here in Dallas. And we were at lunch one day at Vincent's Seafood. It was actually the last lunch I had with him before he passed. I was with Zig and his wife, Jean, and his daughter, Julie. And I said, Zig, I read See at the Top when I was 17 years old. And there was a quote in that book that forever changed my life. You can have everything in life you want when you simply help enough other people get what they want. I said, Zig, when did you create that? He just kind of smiled like he did and leaned in. And he said, Scott, I didn't create that. My mama taught me that when I was 5. It was part of my christening when I was 12. I said, Zig, can I share that story with people? He said, I'd be honored. See, his mama set something in place with him when he was 5 years old and solidified it, anchored as part of his christening when he was 12. And he lived his life that way going forward. Now, many of you know who Zig Ziglar is. I'm going to suggest there's probably some on here that have no clue who Zig Ziglar is. And that's okay. My encouragement to you is to look him up. The man was brilliant. But it was always about that positioning. I can have everything in life I want after I serve somebody else in getting what they want. See, that's the results business coming through again, over and over again. See, I know that you are all highly motivated, highly inspired individuals. How do I know that? Because you're on this call here today. You wouldn't be here if you wouldn't. My guess is there are other things to do even when you're locked up inside. You know, sitting on a couch is doing something. Not very productive, but it is doing something. But that's not what you're doing. You're working to better yourself. See, when you have a big enough what you want to accomplish in life and a strong enough why you want to accomplish it, the how to accomplish it will show up in your life. See, most people sit and ask the wrong question continually. How am I going to do this? How am I going to get through this pandemic? How am I going to respond to people after COVID-19? How am I going to do this when I'm locked up in the house? How? Wrong question. The question really becomes, what do you want to accomplish? Well, I want to communicate with more people. I want to do it more freely. I want to be more connected than I've ever been connected before. That's awesome. Why do you want to do it? Well, number one, it makes my heart feel good. Number two, I want to be of service. Number three, I want to provide for my family. Number four, because I see that they need it. Well, you know how to do it? You could do a Zoom call with them. Wow. You mean I don't have to text them? No, you could actually see them face to face. That's the beauty of what's going on. See, business will never be done the same going forward after this pandemic. I don't have to tell many of you that are on this that live in California. Is anybody missing being stuck in traffic? I mean, raise your hand if you're missing being stuck in traffic. Yeah, I didn't think so. Nobody's, well, there's two of you. Okay, that's novel. You might be using it as study time. I'll give you credit for that. See, the point is that the vast majority of people are finding new ways to do things in much better ways. So I would encourage you, now's a great time to do that reset in your own word and create your own BHAG, your big, hairy, audacious goal. Now, for me, it's to positively impact 1 billion lives on this planet. That's my BHAG. You know, sometimes people say, well, Scott, that's ridiculous. I mean, you're one person. How are you going to do that? There's that how question again. Not my problem. The how I'm going to do it. See, what I want to do is positively impact 1 billion people on the planet. Why do I want to do it? Because I believe God's granted me the capabilities and the talents to accomplish that. How do I do it? Well, number one, I inform you that I'd like to do it. I could use your help. Number two, somebody said to me on a radio show not too long ago, I mean, that's a crazy goal. You're a crazy person. I said, okay, you're entitled to your opinion. What if I mess it up and I hit 100 million people instead of 1 billion? What if I'm not very good at it and I hit 10 million people? Would that be okay? What if I'm kind of terrible and I only touch 1 million lives? Would that be okay? See, I've already done that. How do I know? I've spoken to over 1 million people in live venues in my career. That's not counting doing 8 infomercials, being one of the top products on CNBC for a period of time, being on QVC, having my own TV show, doing all. Now, I don't say that to impress you. I say it to impress upon you. When you have a big, hairy, audacious goal, when you know what you want to accomplish and why you want to accomplish it, the how to accomplish it starts to show up in your life. See, what we all have to understand is we have to begin with the end in mind. We have to know our outcome. We have to start with a vision. We have to be out ahead of wherever you are today. The whole selling process itself is having a quiet confidence to know that, in fact, people want what you have. And sometimes it's even your product. Notice I said sometimes it's even your product. They might just want the knowledge that you have because you've come to a Shintastic Saturday and learned from such a great master like John Shin. He truly is a master. I hope you thank him often at what he does to commit to you to help as many people as you possibly can. See, we're really here to explore the millions of people that need your products, goods, and services here today. Millions of people. You don't have to birth anybody to create a market for what you already have. You simply have to learn how to identify those folks and go through the steps of the selling process that I'll share with you here in a moment. Don't worry, I'm getting there. I'm getting to the quote unquote sales training stuff, but did you realize that all of this is the sales training stuff? Because if you don't have your mindset right, if you don't have your heart set right, you've got a problem. See, if you're not doing this for the right reason, you're going to be less successful than you probably truly want to be. The reason is simple. People can smell out when you're doing it for your reasons as opposed to their reasons. Like a dog smells out fear, customers smell out commission-hungry salespeople. So don't be commission-hungry. Be service-hungry, because they can smell that out too. Now, all of a sudden, they sit and they go, wow, this person's really in it for me. They're genuine. They're authentic. They're here to be of service to me. Wow, I like that. I trust that. People buy from those they know, like, and trust. So how do you gain trust? You gain trust by serving people, by liking people, by getting them to know you along with this. So let me ask you a quick question. What's the world's oldest profession? Scott, what kind of question is that? I mean, come on. I thought you were a good Christian guy. I'm a great Christian guy, I think. I mean, I do my best. I certainly work to do the right things at the right time for all the right reasons. But the question stands, what's the world's oldest profession? For some of you who didn't answer with sales, shame on you. It was you, not me. See, sales is the world's oldest profession. Now, some of you might have chosen something else, but I'm going to suggest to you that until the agreement was communicated and the proposition was made, the sales presentation was made of it, no other act was consummated. Therefore, by definition, sales is the world's oldest profession. See, I'm a proud member of the world's oldest profession. I love the fact that I'm a professional sales presenter. Because what that means is I'm actually a professional problem solver. See, as a salesperson, I don't ever want to sell you anything. But I always want you to buy a lot from me. Therefore, it's my responsibility to create an environment for you to want to buy. If you don't buy, it's my fault. It's not your fault. I haven't created enough reasons why whatever it is I'm offering is the appropriate choice for you at this time frame. That's the facts. Now, many people, salespeople particularly, don't like to admit that. What do you mean? It's my responsibility if they don't buy? Yeah, it's your responsibility. But I tell you what, when you do accept that you are 100% responsible for their response, it's amazing how much more you sell. Because you understand it's your task to hear more, to ask better questions, to learn more so that you can in fact serve them better. It's hard to serve somebody that you don't know how they would like to be served. But it's very easy to serve somebody that you know exactly how they'd like to be served. Does that all make sense to everybody? See, as soon as I know how to serve you, when John said, I'd love for you to come on a Shintastic Saturday. Well, I'd love the fact that you love that. I'm in. We didn't have any massive conversations about what I'd talk about today. If John wanted to sit here and simply ask me questions for our entire time together, perfect. I'm good with that. If that serves John's needs, I'm good with that. He didn't say, I'd like you to make this grand overture to my people. But if that would have served John, I would have done that because it's what he needs. It's his baseball bat. It's his ball. This is his game. I'm here to serve him. His request is to serve you. That's all I want to do here today. I want to serve you in the best way I possibly can, which is why I'm tremendously excited about the questions and answers later on. See, what most people get stuck with in sales is kind of the official definition in their head. So let's demystify sales right out of the blocks. The Webster's definition of sales is the exchange of a product, good, or service for an amount of money or its equivalent. It's the exchange of a product, good, or service for an amount of money or its equivalent. That's the official definition. So when you go to provide somebody some kind of financial benefit of some sort, if it is delivering money, if it is delivering a policy, if it's delivering an annuity, if it's delivering whatever it is you're delivering, that's a product, good, or service. In exchange for an amount of money, that's the premium they pay. When they pay their premium, then commissions are derived out of that. Or its equivalent. See, many times a sale can be made where it makes your heart feel good. That's the equivalent. It's not money, made your heart feel good. Now, obviously, you have to have a balance between the amount of sales that you make that derive income for you so that you and your family can thrive, and those that make your heart feel good so your spirit can thrive. There needs to be a balance there across the way, obviously. Right? But see, I created my own heart-centered selling definition of sales. Let's demystify this. So for me, selling is education through communication without manipulation. See, now that classifies me, the professional, persuasive communicator that I've become. The professional presenter that I've become. I go from being a salesperson to becoming a teacher. And people love teachers because people love to learn, especially when they're learning about a solution that solves a problem in their lives. Remember, identify problem. Provide solution. It's that simple. 4 words. Identify problem, provide solution. So now when you educate, and how do you educate? You educate through constant, clear communications. And you do it without manipulation, without trying to box them into a corner, without takeaways, without trying to NLP them into it. Because what you'll find is if you take any of those techniques, they'll have objections. The brain science is called cognitive dissonance. That means your left hemisphere of your brain argues with your right hemisphere. You're cognitively in an argument. Yeah, I may have signed the agreement and I may have written the check, but I don't like you. Well, if that dissonance stays in there, the first thing they're going to do is call the office before you ever get this enrolled into the computer and cancel. How'd that work for you? And then, you know, there used to be a study that said a happy customer tells 3 people, a dissatisfied tells 11. Well, that was before the internet. I'm going to suggest to you, a happy customer still tells 3. A dissatisfied tells 11 million as fast as they can. See, people love to be snarky sometimes. Why would you put yourself into that position? I mean, you're the one who is there to communicate. Why manipulate them into something? It won't stick. One of the proudest statistics, now I've done over 2,500 live events. I've sold millions upon millions upon millions of dollars from the stage. Again, I don't share that with you to impress you. I share that with you to give foundation to this story. Out of those 2,500 events, over the millions of dollars that I've sold from stage, the difference between what I closed initially and what stayed sold in the industry called your stick rate, how many of those sales stuck? The difference is 0.3%. Think that through. 0.3% over all those opportunities. That means what was sold stayed sold. Cancellations simply cost money. They cost you money. They cost the company money. They cost your customer money. And they cost your reputation the world. So, I mean, I've heard it a long time in the speaking business. People go, well, what can you close from stage? And some speaker will throw out some pretty fictitious number. Well, I close half of the audience I talk to. What stayed sold? 12%. Do you understand how much paperwork has to go in to rip up all those other agreements? Sell with quality, because when you sell, simply provide the solution. When you provide the solution, it stays sold. So there was a recent Notre Dame study, and this is fascinating to me, and it's about the stick-to-itiveness of sales folks. And it kind of tells you why this is such a great environment to be a salesperson, why this is such a great time in history to have this opportunity. So what the study showed is 44% of all salespeople stopped trying to present and close their prospect after their first attempt. 44% said something like, so would you like to get started? And when the person said no, they said, okay, I'm done. 44% of salespeople. 24% on top of that stopped after the second attempt. Another 14% stopped after the third attempt. And another 12% stopped after the fourth attempt. If you put all that math together, what it tells you is 94% of all salespeople stopped trying to close their prospect after simply asking for the order 4 times. 94%. That means 6% of the salespeople were still remaining persistent going forward. Well, Scott, why are you making such a big deal of this? Because the study also concluded that 60% of all sales come in the 5th attempt or after. See, it took that many times. That means 6% of the salespeople are getting 60% of the available business. So now do you ask yourself why high achievers are high achievers? Not too hard to understand, is it? High achievers are high achievers because they're persistent. So again, let's just take a look at an example. I have a book. I have a brand new book. It's a really flippin' good book. It's 192 pages of really good stuff. In fact, it also has an accompanying action journal to it. You can buy the book. You can buy the action journal. You can buy them as a bundle. How many of you believe I would like each and every one of you on this call to purchase that book? For those of you, let me just answer that for you. Of course I would. I'd be crazy not to. But if you don't do that today, would I like you to do it tomorrow? Of course I would. But if you don't do it tomorrow, would I like it to be next week? Yeah. And if it's not next week, would I like it to be next month? Yeah. And not next month, next quarter? Sure. And not next quarter, next year? Yeah. And not next year, the year after? Absolutely. And if it's never, is that okay? Sure. See, the point is, we're in a 24/7, 365 forever business called delivering results. So we have to be persistent in what we do. We have to not only offer once, we have to offer multiple times. And when we offer multiple times, we also have to expect to be told no multiple times. And we have to not let that get under our skin. See, professional salespeople are those who are accustomed to hearing no often. No is not no. No is not now. No is a cry for, I need more reasons to say yes. You haven't given me enough reasons to say yes at this point. So what we really need to do is we need to win the conceptual battle of presentation. Now, what's a concept? A concept is it's an idea, a thought, a notion, a perception, an impression, a conception, a theory, a model, a hypothesis, a view or belief. In other words, we have to win that concept with somebody. I'm going to suggest to you, nobody wants an insurance policy. Not a single person on the planet. What they want is the peace of mind that comes from having that insurance policy. They want the concept that once they're long gone, their family will continue to live on and prosper. See, that's winning the concept. If we don't play in concept, then we play in price. And if we play in price, those who have the lowest price win. It's my number of things versus your number of things. My number of things costs less than your number of things. Therefore, my number of things must be better. You don't want to play in that game. You want to be in the concept. See, the key to increasing your closing ratio is providing the appropriate amount of information necessary for your prospect to make a quality decision. That's the key to your closing ratio. It's not techniques. It's not process. It's having the appropriate recipe and delivering that recipe in the appropriate order for them to say yes to what you have to offer. So again, what would that recipe be? Well, for me, the number one is you have to be authentic. You have to be you. You can't be me. I can't be you. You can't be John. John can't be you. I can't be John. John can't be me. John is John. John is brilliant. Has anybody noticed that? He's amazing at what he does. He absolutely does a fabulous job of communicating a message in such a way. That's right. There he is. See? Not that he's taken any credit for it. He does an exceptional job of this, as he should. And he should take a lot of credit for it. He's investing in all of you. See, but John's authentic. There's no question of who John Shin is. When I'm presenting something, I don't ever want you to have a question as to who I am or what my motivation is or what my inspiration is. I'm unapologetic for who I am. When we were on the Think and Grow Rich tour, somebody came up to me in one of the cities afterwards, and the first question they had is, how do you have the courage to lead with your faith from stage? Easy answer. I only work for one guy, and I've learned along the way that I'm allergic to lightning. I've got zero desire to have a second near-death experience. I've already had one and lived through it. I'm an overachiever. I don't need another one. Now, is everybody in the room or is everybody watching this going to like that answer? Not my concern. See, I've got a high intention of imparting really quality information for you all here today, and a low attachment as to who this lands with and what you think about me if it doesn't land. Now, I would love for all of you to love me. We all would. But I also have the proper expectations to understand that somebody's going to be here going, who the heck does he think he is? He's not even in our company. Oh my God, why did John ask him here? Okay, you're entitled to all that. But for those of you who do feel that some of this that I'm sharing here today is of value, you're going to understand it's coming from me from an authenticity of who I am deep down. See, because I'm the same today, tomorrow, next week, next month. So what happens is if you don't buy from me today and you want to buy from me next week, you're not going to find a different guy. And if you want to buy from me next month, you're going to find the same guy. And if you want to find me now, hopefully I get better over that time frame, but you're not going to find a different authenticity level in that presentation along the way. Second thing is you've got to take the 14-inch journey. That's from your head to your heart. You've got to drop down. I said it earlier, sales is not a tactical event. Sales is a heartfelt, strategic, relational event. The more you can come from a heart space, the better off you'll be. So those of you who have gone through tactical sales training programs and somebody said, well, you've got to give them an either or close, and you got to pin them into a position, and you got to paint them into a corner, and you got to take their pain and intensify it. Well, I understand you do have to identify their pain, but the opposite side of their pain is their pleasure. And people also strive for pleasure. And so what if I can identify the pain, work to take it away by providing them pleasure? See, that's that strategic, heartfelt, relational. You have to be on purpose. My life purpose statement is to inspire and empower others to serve humanity through living their life's purpose in spirit, love, and joy. When John and I were talking, he said, would you come on Shintastic Saturday and talk to my troops? I'd really appreciate it. Let me run that through my life purpose statement. To inspire and empower others to serve humanity. That's all of you on this live call and those of you who will listen later on. So that you can live your life's purpose. That makes me feel good. In spirit, closer to God than I've ever been. Love my wife, my family, my friends more than I ever have. Joy, this gives me joy. I love being able to share the talents and capabilities God's granted me. I love being able to share the knowledge and the wisdom that I've gained from all of my mentors over all of my years. See, when you become more mature, that's code word for old, by the way. When you become more mature, you find out it's about investing in those who are younger. Experience is a great teacher. It's just a very expensive teacher. Why go through the expense yourself if you can borrow the experience from somebody else? The wisdom of a John Shin. Hopefully some of the wisdom of what I've learned along the way. See, and then you have to express your passion. You've got to be passionate about what you're doing. I'm passionate about training. I'm passionate about adding to people's lives. I love that. That's why I'm so excited about getting to the questions and answer as that time comes up, because I'm passionate about doing that with and for you, because I want your passion to be fueled. That's why it's got to be inspiration versus motivation. See, motivation only lasts as long as an outside inactivity. It only lasts as long as the motivator is there. So what motivates you? Well, I get an extra $20 if I close this deal. Well, that's great. You'll close that deal because there's $20. What happens when the $20 is gone? Do you close the next one? See, that's outside in motivation. Better to be inspired, have entheos, enthusiasm, comes from the Greek of God's Spirit. You are inspired to keep going long after that $20 bill is gone. See, I'm inspired to share this message with you today, because this is how I'm going to have effect on this generation and generations to come, long past when I'm here. Somebody will go, you know what? I was at that Shintastic Saturday back May 23rd of 2020. Gosh, that seems so long ago. And this guy, Scott Shilling, said something that made a difference in my life and my career from that point forward. See, to this day, I quote Maynard Garfield. Now, I'm going to guess nobody of you know who Maynard Garfield is. Well, on a training similar to this in 1984, long before many of you, I'm going to guess, were even alive, Maynard Garfield said, "Today's activity does not determine today's volume. Today's volume was determined by what happened 30, 60, 90 days ago. Today's activity determines what happens 30, 60, 90 days from now. If you're not doing enough business today, it's not because of what you're doing or not doing today. It's because of what you didn't do 30, 60, 90 days ago. You want to change your business? Change what you do today to affect how much more business you do in the future." See, I just helped pass Maynard Garfield's legacy on to a generation who had no clue Maynard Garfield ever existed. That's how much impression that made on me in 1984. I have been saying that and training on that ever since. And it's just as valid today as it was in 1984. See, sometimes you may hear people say, gosh, this guy is teaching old school. Doesn't he? So again, be passionate about what you're doing. Continue to do what you're doing for all the right reasons. I mean, you guys are awesome. So there's foundational, and with the time I have left, I want to handle these three ingredients to getting this right, and then we'll take questions. So let me just finish. Have you ever heard there's no such thing as an absolute? Of course you have. They're right, except for these things. These three things are absolute in any sales situation, no matter what you're doing at any time. The first is you have to start with WIIFT. What is WIIFT? What's in it for them? You've got to come from an others orientation. This has to be about your customers' wants, their needs, their desires, and how your products, goods, and services will satisfy those needs, wants, and desires. You have to be able to prove to them what's in it for them to release their hard-earned dollars to purchase your quality offering. So you've got to come from an others orientation. Well, how do you learn what's important to them? Novel idea. You ask them. You ask them questions. Is it a really complex question, Scott? No, it's a pretty easy one. You ready? Ready to write this down? This is a writer downer. Ready? What's important to you? Scott, you don't really ask people what's important to them, do you? All the time. What's important to you? What's new and exciting in your life? If you could improve one thing in your life, what would it be? If you could improve one thing in your business today, what would it be? If you could improve one thing in your finances today, what would it be? See, it's not hard. They know the answer to that question. They'll give up the answer to that question. You'll be able to make a far better presentation because you'll be able to translate for them what's in it for them. The second absolute we've already talked about. People do business with those they know, like, and trust. If I don't know you, you need to assume I don't like you. And if I don't like you, you need to assume I don't trust you. See, I have to know you in order to like you. And if I don't like you, I have to like you in order to trust you. And in order to do business with you, I have to trust you. Trust is the cornerstone of so many things. See, I can solve the divorce problem in our country in a second. It's all about trust. People do business with those they know, like, and trust. People date those they know, like, and trust. People marry those they know, like, and trust. People divorce those they don't trust. Is it that simple? Yeah, it kind of is, actually. See, in relationships, people think it's a 50-50 process, right? If you have two trees that come together and you lash them together, that's now 50-50. But that's pretty weak. It breaks. There's too many 50-50 marriages out there. There's too many 50-50 relationships. But if this tree comes all the way over and this tree comes all the way over and you now lash it, it's an impenetrable bridge. See, in order to gain trust, it's a 100-100 relationship. Now, people say, wait a second, but the math doesn't add up. It actually does over time. You've got to give 100% of yourself to gain that trust. And the third is people take action when they're ready, not when you're ready. That's the one that's disappointing. That goes back to Maynard Garfield. Today's activity does not determine today's volume. So if I'm not getting enough business today, I need to increase my activity today because that will increase my volume tomorrow. And if I'm not doing enough activity today, you're going to lose volume in the future. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy. It will happen. People take action when they're ready. If you're not ready to take action with me today, that's awesome. That's great. Love to do that. Is it okay if I check back with you in 30 days to see if you're ready then? Great. Awesome. I now put that in my calendar system and I move on to the next person. Are you ready to take action today? You're not ready? Awesome. That's great. Can I get back with you in 30 days? See, it's about if you don't have enough business today, you haven't put enough people in your funnel yesterday. I'm in a 24/7, 365 forever business. I want to do business every day of the year. I would actually like it to be happening while I'm sleeping. That would be awesome. You can go to my website and do it that way. I'm awesome with that. See, people take action when they're ready. See, if you haven't built trust ahead of when they're ready, they're going to buy. They're just not going to buy from you because they're going to buy from who they trust. And if they have the trust built, but they're not ready, they're not going to buy from you or anybody else either. They trust you, but they're not ready. So if you try to force them to buy today when they're not ready, you're now going to destroy the trust you've worked so hard to gain. Be empathetic. Hear why it's going to take a few more days or whatever the case might be. See, what you really want is that middle one, people doing business with those they know, like, and trust, to turn into people doing business with those that they respect, love, and think they hung the moon. Personally, I want to have think I hung the moon status with everybody. I want you to think I'm pretty special. Not from an ego standpoint, but from a knowing that I'm always here willing to serve you in any way possible. That's why in front of 25,000 people, I give out my email address. That's why in front of hundreds of people on this call, my email address is Scott at scottshilling.com. Pretty easy. It's my first name at my full name.com. I'm here to serve you. After this, I know that we're going to have a lot of questions, a lot of answers. We're going to go through a lot of time, but we're not going to be able to do this forever. So you're going to probably have questions that you think of later. Awesome. Reach out to me. Is that my real email address? Yes, it is. Will I answer it? Yes, I will. How long will it take? That I don't have the answer to. Depends on what I'm in the middle of at that time. But my commitment to you is I'll answer you as quickly as possible. So I know that we're up against some time frames, John. So let me invite you back in. How about if we take those questions and answer? Has this been helpful for you and the team?
Yes. My phone is blowing up right now. Look at all the hands. If this has been helpful, guys, down on the bottom, where is it? You just hit, you just raise hand. Like it'll say raise hand on the bottom and just say it was awesome. Look at that. You see it blowing up right there, Scott? All those hands.
I do.
Up? It's exploding, baby.
I love that.
Love it, man. Love it. All right, cool. Scott, I mean, you were like so, like, you know, I felt like I just had like Master Yoda just give me a lesson, a mindset about sales right now. So thank you, Master Yoda.
My pleasure.
Yeah, you were phenomenal. And thank you, everyone. There's a couple questions here we want to get to. I don't know. This is from Jen Ziegler. So I don't know part of is this any relation to Zig Ziglar? I'm not sure, Jen. Let us know. If you are part of the Zig Ziglar family, hey, honored to have you here. What can we say about Zig Ziglar? I mean, he's the man. But Jen asked a very deep question here, Scott. Real quickly, she says, asking people to talk about their finances can bring up a lot of shame and emotion. Right? Because, and I get that, Jen, because I mean, because if you don't have a lot of money or you have a lot of debt, yeah, I mean, you know, and, you know, it could be, because there is that perception, like some people think that they have a lot of money and they portrayed that to society. But then she says, how do you hold compassion for that process while leading them to hope without sounding so salesy and quote unquote doom and gloom? So how do you hold compassion for that process?
That is a fabulous question.
Yeah, it is. Yeah,
oh,
it is.
My goodness.
Yeah.
So here's how you do it. You identify the elephant in the room. You know, sometimes, and I don't know if this is your situation, Jen, but sometimes when we start talking about finances, it gets emotional.
Yeah.
It really starts to trigger sometimes even shame. Well, here's what I know to be true. I know nobody purposefully doesn't do what is best for them. Sometimes people make mistakes. Sometimes situations happen. Those are all okay. But you know what? What I love doing is working with folks who, no matter what has happened in their life, no matter where they are, say, you know what? I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired. I want to go from this point forward. Today is a day of demarcation. Today is the day where we will start making a difference and we will improve our situation from this point forward. Notice the word that I used there. It was not, we will change our situation. See, people resist change. People love improvement. We'll improve our situation from this day forward. See, what I love about working with John Shin and his organization is we learn how to be even extraordinarily compassionate because we know you want to improve from this point forward, and it's my task to help you get there. So can we talk through this together?
Great. Love it. Real quickly, if you can do the quick 30-second response here, Scott, because we're running out of time and I just have a couple things to go with you. And thank you, everyone, for just staying on. We usually keep our calls to an hour, but we're so, I mean, both Scott and I were just so passionate about giving you guys the tools, right? This comes from Luce Lambert. She says, Scott, could you please go over the 6 steps selling process, the 6 steps selling process?
It's actually 7 steps.
Okay.
But yes, I would do it. Let me do it from an acronym standpoint of empower EMPOWER. Examine the marketplace. Make first contact. Prep for success. Offer the goods. Weather the storm. Engage the sale. Request assistance. So let me give you the translation of what those are. The E is prospecting. The M is marketing. The P is qualifying. The O is presentation. The W is handling objections. The E is closing. And the R is gaining referrals. That is the selling cycle.
That right there, guys, is fire. I mean, that like breaks it right down. So easy. You're always going to remember that, guys. I agree with you, Luz. Luz is making comments. 1,000. Oh my God. That. Hey, let me just tell you that right now, just so you know, in summary, and I'm glad, Luz, that you asked that question again, because that right there, like, I don't know, like the modern day, the urban comment was like, boom, that was dope, right? That was dope. But we don't condone dope, right? But I mean, you know, just a figure of speech, just so you guys know. That was so good. And I hope you guys, there's so many questions that you guys are still asking for, but we are running out of time. And I just wanted to just add a few things here real fast. Again, this is Scott Shilling, you guys. Scott, real quickly, I wanted to talk to you about your book real fast, because you just wrote a new book. Where can people get your new book right now? Is that yeah, there you go, you got it. Where can we support you? Because you support all of us. We want to give some reciprocity back, right? Where can we buy that book? Is it on Amazon? We buy it at your website?
Better to go to my website. It's tswnbook.com. So it's the 4 letters of That Sucks What Now book.com.
That's great.
And there is a ton of process that you'll love in this book. There's also an accompanying action journal. Like I said, this is a 192-page book full of actionable things. The journal itself is 116 pages. You can buy the book, you can buy the journal, you can buy them both. tswnbook.com.
Okay, you guys, let's show some support and some love, and just get in there. Let's all buy it. And how much is the book, Scott?
$24.99. And I give you if you buy the book, you get $100 worth of bonuses. You buy them both, you get $200 worth of bonuses.
And he's throwing
you actually make money buying my book.
There you go. He's throwing in some extra goodies, right? $25. Make it an investment, right? Make it an investment. So you know that $1,200 stimulus check you got? We'll take 25 bucks of that and go buy his book and grow. I got so much from Scott today. You know what I got from Scott was the word of the day, right? Snarky, you guys, snarky, right? And you're like, what the hell does snarky mean, right? It means to be sharply critical, cutting snide. And you're like, okay, well, what does snide mean? It means mocking or derogatory in an indirect way. And he's absolutely right. There's so many snarky people out there today, right? So you may want to say that to somebody. Stop being so snarky, right? That's the word of the day, everybody. But let me just tell you, I can tell you, and I speak for me and Scott, that we do what we do, you guys, because look, both Scott and I, we're finance independent, you guys. And I'm not saying that to sound braggadocious, right? But let me just tell you what I love. I love messages like this. This came from Luz, right? Luz, in her comments earlier said, thank you, John, right? I owe a lot of my growth to you, exclamation. Since I started to watch your trainings, my business and my leadership skills are a different level. Luz Maria, right, from New York City. So she's dialing in right now from Luz, and she also asked some great questions today. But do you understand, we're doing this, and it's amazing that there's 250 of you, and like 4 or 5 of you are asking questions. Like, one of the things as a great student is to ask lots of questions. You've got to ask questions, and you don't have to be shy. Remember what I said earlier is that You have to ask without fear. And Luz is benefiting from this in the last 7-8 weeks. And so that's like music to my ears. You know, I sit here and we do so much, you guys. We do so much to help you guys out. And right now, just so you guys know, I could use your help right now. And I'm not shy to ask you guys, I need your help right now, which is if you actually have bought my book, read my book, could you please do me a favor and go to Amazon, right? Go to Amazon. And if you haven't bought it, buy it, for crying out loud, okay? Use some of that $1,200 check in a good way. And do me a favor and just make a comment or give me a review. I would really appreciate it, because you guys are all sending me text messages. Are you with me? Which my God, I am really, really grateful. And I save those, believe it or not, right? Because it means a lot to me, because we take a lot of time to put our books together, we take time to put our YouTube channels together. We take time to put these events together, this webinar. You know, there's a lot of preparation. Our PowerPoints, we don't just wake up 30 minutes before and we wing our PowerPoints. If you've ever done PowerPoints, you know how time consuming they are. And all I ask is, as we put this stuff out there, just so you guys know, by the time I pay the Napoleon Hill Foundation, I pay Amazon, and they pay the shipping and handling and this and that, I'd be lucky if I make 50 cents or $1 on a book, you guys. So it's not like I'm doing it for the book, but what I want to do is that, unfortunately, people do believe in people's comments and reviews. So the more reviews there are, people say, oh, this must be good. But I mean, you guys are all texting me and emailing me, which is awesome. But if you guys could do me a favor, it takes like what, 2 minutes to just go to your Amazon and then log in and just give me a review and a comment. If it's good. If it's not, then don't. Leave it to yourself. Don't be so snarky, okay? Don't be snarky. All right. Now, do me another favor. Go to YouTube right now. Subscribe to my channel. This awesome video with Scott and I will get uploaded by tomorrow with some other content. So make sure you do this. Just so you guys know, when I said that we are all committed, this is my new studio, you guys. Like right now, this is my team and I. We got all this new stuff just so that we can put these podcasts on. You'll see the little green screen in the back. There's Rose hiding behind the big screen back there. But yeah, I mean, we're doing whatever we got to do. That's like our mail table, our fan table. Do you see like in the background, there's like a table? That's like, outgoing DVDs and books and mail and all. Guys, we're absolutely doing this thing right now to help you. And at the same time, we want you to know how much we love you, and we want to do some upcoming birthdays. Joan Ong is her birthday Tuesday next week. Wish her a happy birthday. Hit her on Facebook. Precious Proskovia, Wednesday next week, May 20th is her birthday. Oh, this was all last week. Sorry, my bad. I lost track of time. This coming Friday, or last Friday, or yesterday, Dee Dee Wong, my sister, right, from another mother, was her birthday. Wish her a happy birthday. This is Nat. Yesterday, also her birthday. Susanna Bulosan, happy birthday. And of course, Marian Castro, happy birthday to you. And I just want you guys to know, really, happy birthday to all the May birthdays. And for those of you that want to get a license in our industry, our testing centers are now open in California. And if they're open in California, they're open in all the other states now, just so you know. I mean, California being so conservative, it's just, I think our politicians are going a little overboard and extreme. But anyway, I want you guys to still continue to wear a mask and keep the social distancing going. Please go to this website and sign up for your exams. Guys, get a license, and it's going to benefit you tremendously. Don't forget, this afternoon, man, make that change. Let me help you make that change. Go now, register for this afternoon's program. So take this opportunity to go grab a quick, light lunch and grab some snacks, sit around your table, and let's spend the next 3 hours together. And then don't forget, next week, tune in Tuesday, May 26th. We got some great stuff happening. And then, of course, next week, Wednesday, I've got my orientation going on. Fast Start School next Saturday. And again, I want you to get with the person who invited you today. How to make more money, learn how money works, and finally, make sure that you go and support Scott, you guys, and get his book, because he just gives so much content that's relevant. It's not a bunch of rah-rah. It's everything from what's going on in between the 6 inches here, which is to think, right? Change this up here, and everything else will change for you in a positive way. So thank you, Scott, so much for being with us today. Thank you all for joining us this morning. From wherever you are, have a blessed and productive weekend. God bless every single one of you. Signing off from Calabasas, California. We'll see you guys this afternoon at 2 o'clock. Take care, everyone. God bless.
See y'all. God bless. Thank you.
Take care, Scott.
Take care, John. Appreciate you.